I would like to thank all of you for your association and this opportunity to serve all of you by engaging in Krishna Katha. I am honored to be part of your Sangha. So we'll chant the Mangala Charana prayers, and then we'll speak a little from the 10th canto, chapter 3, the birth of Lord Krishna. Whoever would like to read along, we'll do a little reading and then discussion.
Do you want to tell her which verse so that she could also open it for everyone on Zoom?
Oh, I see. Well, I think, yeah, I'll read the first verse of Canto 10, Chapter 3, and then I'll carry on from there and then speak accordingly. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So reading from Canto 10, Chapter 3, Text 1. Thereafter, at the auspicious time for the appearance of the Lord, the entire universe was surcharged with all the qualities of goodness, beauty, and peace. The constellation Rohini appeared, as did stars like Ashvini. The sun, the moon, and the other stars and planets were very peaceful. All directions appeared extremely pleasing, and the beautiful stars twinkled in the cloudless sky. Decorated with towns, villages, mines, and pasturing grounds, the earth seemed all auspicious. The rivers flowed with clear water, and the lakes and vast reservoirs full of lilies and lotuses were extraordinarily beautiful. In the trees and green plants full of flowers and leaves, pleasing to the eyes, birds like cuckoos and swarms of bees began chanting with sweet voices for the sake of the demigods. A pure breeze began to blow, pleasing the sense of touch and bearing the aroma of flowers. And when the brahmanas engaging in ritualistic ceremonies ignited their fires, according to Vedic principles, the fires burned steadily, undisturbed by the breeze. Thus, when the birthless Lord Vishnu the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was about to appear, the saints and brahmanas who had always been disturbed by demons like Kamsa and his men felt peace within the core of their hearts, and kettle drums simultaneously vibrated from the upper planetary systems. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum nangayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurum dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So thank you once again for this opportunity, because actually this is the most blissful and glorious thing to do with our time, is to discuss Krishna's pastimes, qualities with the association of devotees. So I'm indebted to all of you for this opportunity. Just like when the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken, Maharaj Parikshit, he asked, right, what is the duty of somebody, what is the prime duty for somebody in life, a human being? What are they meant to do? Especially, what is somebody supposed to do who's just about to die, right? It's like the last test, the final exam, the passing away from the body. Where should we put our consciousness? What should we be doing? And then, as we know, or most of us know, that Shukadeva Goswami went on to tell him that the prime occupation for all living entities is to hear and chant the glories of the Lord with all of one's heart, with all of one's energies. So he also thanked him for asking such a question, because it gave Shukadeva Goswami the opportunity to glorify the activities and qualities of Krishna, which is the eternal bliss and pleasure of the soul. It's just like if you were reminded of somebody you loved, right? If somebody were to ask you, let's say, can you tell me about your best friend or your most favorite family member, something like that, right? So it's not a artificial thing. It'll naturally spring from the heart that, you could talk for hours and days about that person. You could just be like, this person did this for me, and when I was young, they were like this, they had these qualities, and I'm trying to follow in their footsteps. It would just exude from them naturally. So similarly, the devotee, the more and more we get purified, and the more we realize our intimate, loving relationship with Krishna, the more blissful and the more happy we are for the opportunity to speak about Krishna. So this was just one verse that we read from the Bhagavatam, setting the scene of Krishna's appearance, right? All of the universe was in ecstasy, right? Even like it was talking about, let's think what we just heard, the rivers, the lakes, the bushes, what to speak of the people, the brahmanas, right? Everything was in a happy state of mind. All directions, right? Because in Krishna consciousness, everything is personal. Even the directions are personified. Just like singing. Who was doing the kirtan today? I came into Jishnu's house and heard a beautiful kirtan. And
I was doing, Prabhu.
all glories, it's very, very enlivening, and all glories to the chanters. Just like His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, after the kirtan, he'll say, all glories to the chanters of the holy names of the Lord, all glories to the cartel players. Let's give it up for the mridanga players. Like every person he gives glory to. So what I was getting at is that when you chant, right, there's ragas and raginis, right? There's like female and male, like each note, sa re ga ma pa da ni sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. So each note, each raga, each note also is personified by a demigod. And even the ragas are personified, there's so so personal is Krishna consciousness that even the directions are personified, and all the directions were satisfied when Krishna appeared, right? And so much so that when Krishna appeared on what astrological day? We say Krishna Janmastami, right? But it was a full moon, right? You remember reading that? Why is that? Because the moon was so enlivened that it wanted to shine on Krishna, like Krishna appeared at midnight. And the moon, it was the 8th day of the moon, but Krishna appeared in the dynasty of the moon god. And in reciprocation and in just pure happiness, it didn't care. The moon didn't do its usual 8th, it was the waning 8th day of the moon. It appeared full in jubilation of Krishna's appearance. All the directions were happy, and in the core of everybody's heart was supreme happiness and peace, and nature itself, everything was beautiful. Like the first line, it says, the entire universe was surcharged with all the qualities of goodness, beauty, and peace. So if we look at our lives, what else would we want, right? That's it. Even if you have millions of dollars, like there's many wealthy people in the world, but if they don't have peace of mind, then what's the use, right? If you don't have goodness, right, which brings real happiness, then what's the use? So you may have so many nice circumstances, but if you don't have peace, which is directly connected with the soul's being enlivened by Krishna, then what's the use? So that's the gift. And basically, if we search our heart, what are we looking for in all of our activities? Is happiness. So peace. How can there be happiness without peace? That's one Bhagavad Gita shloka, right? So Krishna gives unlimitedly to his devotees, and it's up to us how much we want Krishna. In our chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada has said that Radha and Krishna are dancing on the tongue when we're chanting, personified. So then it's up to us how qualitatively and how devotionally and intimately we want to experience Krishna's presence. So according to that state of mind and that state of heart, then we'll feel Krishna's presence and we'll feel peace more and more. And then we'll be able to give, because this Hare Krishna movement is about sharing Krishna's love with everybody, right? Everybody in the material world, to more or less of different degrees, is forgetful of our eternal, peaceful, loving, beautiful relationship with Krishna. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that one who shares this message of mine, and what is Krishna's message? Krishna's message is that we're not the material body, that we're eternal, blissful, conscious servants of the source of all happiness, Radha Kalachandji, Radha Krishna, and that we're meant to engage in our eternal relationship and be peaceful and be happy. Actually, Krishna wants to give us so much happiness and so much bliss that the material body, it's not suitable for how much pleasure Krishna wants to inundate us with. Because sometimes in the material world, we're satisfied if we get a little comforts, we think, oh, thank you, Bhagavan. Thank you, Krishna. You made me pass my exam. Or thank you, Krishna. I didn't get hit by a train. I mean, that's that's big, but most of the things that we settle for are billions of times less than the pleasure that Krishna wants to inundate us with. This bhakti yoga, this process of reawakening our dormant love for Krishna, is so unlimited that the body is not a fit tabernacle. It's a kind of like Prabhupada terminology. It's probably from the English language. It's not a fit receptacle for the pleasure that the soul experiences in loving Krishna. Krishna's Rasa Bihari, Rasa Raj, full of unlimited spiritual pleasure and bliss that he wants to reciprocate with all of us. So that was just from the first sentence, just a little rambling there, but then I'd like to also get a little, I'll read a little more and then we'll get a little philosophical, okay? So I'll read a few of the next verses.
45 minutes. Rinda, how long should you go for?
20 more minutes.
Okay. So then we'll have questions and answers during that 20 minutes.
After the 20 minutes, you can have questions.
Okay. So we'll do a little more reading. We'll read a few more verses and then we'll speak on that. The Kinnaras and Gandharvas began to sing auspicious songs. The Siddhas and Charnas offered auspicious prayers, and the Vidyadharis, along with the Apsaras, began to dance in jubilation. The demigods and great saintly persons showered flowers in a joyous mood, and clouds gathered in the sky and very mildly thundered, making sounds like those of the ocean's waves. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart, appeared from the heart of Devaki in the dense darkness of night, like the full moon rising on the eastern horizon, because Devaki was of the same category as Sri Krishna. Vasudeva then saw the newborn child who had very wonderful lotus-like eyes, and who bore in his 4 hands the 4 weapons, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma. On his chest was the mark of Shivatsa, on his neck the brilliant Kaustuba gem. Dressed in yellow, his body blackish like a dense cloud, his scattered hair fully grown, and his helmet and earrings sparkling uncommonly with the valuable gem Vaidurya. The child, decorated with the brilliant belt, armlets, bangles, and other ornaments, appeared very wonderful. When Vasudeva saw his extraordinary son, his eyes were struck with wonder. In transcendental jubilation, he mentally collected 10,000 cows and distributed them among the brahmanas as a transcendental festival. So I'll read the purport here. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has analyzed the wonder of Vasudeva upon seeing his extraordinary child. Vasudeva was shivering with wonder to see a newborn child decorated so nicely with valuable garments and gems. He could immediately understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had appeared, not as an ordinary child, but in his original, fully decorated, 4-handed form. The first wonder was that the Lord was not afraid to appear within the prison house of Kamsa, where Vasudeva and Devaki were interned. Second, although the Lord, the supreme transcendence, is all-pervading, he had appeared from the womb of Devaki. The third point of wonder, therefore, was that a child could take birth from the womb so nicely decorated. Fourth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was Vasudeva's worshipable deity, yet he had taken birth as his son. For all these reasons, Vasudeva was transcendently jubilant, and he wanted to perform a festival, as Kshatriyas do to celebrate the birth of a child. But because of his imprisonment, he was unable to do it externally. And therefore he performed the festival within his mind. This was just as good. Full stop. And that's important to note, that he did it within his mind, and Prabhupada says this was just as good. If one cannot externally serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can serve the Lord within one's mind, since the activities of the mind are as good as those of the other senses. This is called the non-dual or absolute situation, Advaya Gyan. People generally perform ritualistic ceremonies for the birth of a child. Why then should Vasudeva not have performed such a ceremony when the Supreme Lord appeared as his son? Okay, just a few more verses. O Maharaj Parikshit, descendant of King Bharat, Vasudeva could understand that this child was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. Everyone say Narayan, Narayan.
Narayan, Narayan.
Having concluded this, without a doubt, he became fearless. Bowing down with folded hands and concentrating his attention, he began to offer prayers to the Lord, who illuminated his birthplace by his natural influence. Vasudeva said, "My dear Lord, you are the Supreme Person beyond material existence, and you are the Super Soul. Your form can be perceived by a transcendental knowledge, by which you can be understood as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I now understand your position perfectly. My Lord, you are the same person who in the beginning created this material world by his personal external energy. After the creation of this world of three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, you appear to have entered it, although in fact you have not." And if all of you devotees have time, if you could read some of these purports, it's very philosophical and very enlightening. I read a little yesterday in Prabhupada's quarters here in Dallas, in Radhakalachandji Dham, and it was very enlivening to read, especially, I think I read, on Janmastami. But I'll just read a few more prayers. It's very enlightening to see how the pure devotee's consciousness is so philosophical, right? I mean, also we're emotional, right? When you have such an experience of having a child, but also to see that pure devotees, they act not just sentimentally, in the sense, not just emotionally, but with pure gyan, right? Pure spiritual knowledge. And then the spiritual emotions are more prominent than just material sentiments. So I'll just read, I guess, one more verse and we'll speak. The Mahatattva, the total material energy, is undivided, but because of the material modes of nature, it appears to separate into earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Because of the living energy, Jiva Bhuta, these separated energies combine to make the cosmic manifestation visible. But in fact, before the creation of the cosmos, the total energy is already present. Similarly, although you are perceived by our senses because of your presence, you cannot be perceived by the senses, nor experienced by the mind or words. Avan manasa gochara. With our senses, we can perceive some things, but not everything. For example, we can use our eyes to see, but not to taste. Consequently, you are beyond perception by the senses. Although in touch with the modes of material nature, you are unaffected by them. You are the prime factor in everything, the all-pervading, undivided supersoul. For you, therefore, there is no external or internal. You never entered the womb of Devaki, rather you existed there already. Hari Om Tat Sat. So that's a lot to kind of comprehend, I'm sure. Just like Prabhupada said with our books, you know, you could go on reading these books for a full lifetime and never come to the end, right? Because Krishna is unlimited, right? Knowledge, even Krishna is so unlimited in his activities, his qualities, knowledge about him, that even Krishna himself, right? There's that beautiful pastime when Krishna in Dwarka, I think it was, the palace is so beautiful. The ground was made out of shining lapis lazuli, like beautiful gems. And he saw his own beautiful reflection in that palace and was fascinated by his qualities and his beauty. And it was just like, wow, who is this? unlimitedly attractive person, right? I want to know more about that, about him, even himself. At every moment, it said that Krishna is all knowing, right? He's omniscient. But Krishna is also ever increasingly expanding in his qualities. So then Krishna is fascinated by his own ever increasing beauty, knowledge, qualities, pastimes, everything. It's ever fresh. So just to zero in on this point here, that there is no external or internal for Krishna. You never entered the womb of Devaki, rather you existed there already. So sometimes materialistic people, they may think, oh, how can the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, who all expansions of Vishnu emanate from, right? Like Mahavishnu, who is a plenary portion. It's like not even the full Bhagavan in one sense, lies down in the ocean, the causal ocean, and exhales, right? Just like, how many times have you all breathed in and out while I've been speaking? And did any cosmic manifestations come out? Maybe a few germs came out. When Krishna breathes, he exhales, one exhalation. Unlimited universes are emanating from his pores. And when he inhales, they all come back within. So that's Mahavishnu. And then from Mahavishnu exhaling and all the universes are expanded, then he manifests again in each universe as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, right? Who lies to that universe is like a brahmanda, like an egg. Sometimes they say it's half filled with the sweat of his own body, and he's lying on an antashesh. And then from there, he expands himself again into every heart of every living entity, and in every atom, and in between every atom. So although that's there, he's expanding. Also, the material energy itself is an expansion of him, like all the material elements. So in one sense, sometimes they say that there's nothing but Krishna, right? That this is kind of maybe a little too philosophical. And I normally don't get this philosophical, but so that there's nothing but Krishna, because it's just like the sun and the sun rays, right? When the sun rays are expanding and giving energy to everything that has life. So in one kind of like indirect way, everything is existing from the energy of the sun. So in some sense, that everything is sun, in a very esoteric kind of like philosophical way. So that in one sense, everything's emanating from Krishna. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. That I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me, and the wise who perfectly know this, they engage in my devotional service with all their hearts. So everything is Krishna's energy, and Krishna enters into everything. And at the same time, Krishna is existing separately. So for materialistic concept, we can't perceive how everything can be Krishna, or everything can be Krishna's energy, and he can exist separately, engaging in his eternal loving pastimes, right? They think, okay, well, if something is being diffused, some energy is being diffused, then it's depleted. But no, Krishna is unlimited. It's just like when I was saying that Krishna is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent, right? He's omni everything. He's everywhere, unlimitedly existing. So also the idea of Vasudeva, Krishna's father, he sees Krishna, and he sees when he comes out, and Krishna's actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there's many layers of things going on. In one sense, he's just feeling affection as a father, not just affection, but supreme devotional affection. And at the same time, he's feeling, wow, the supreme, my worshipful deity, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of life, the cause of everything, has appeared. And he appeared with his four arms holding the different symbols of Vishnu. And he was decorated with the crown and jewels. And so he saw those things. And at the same time, he's speaking philosophically that although you have appeared in Devaki's womb, and that although you have appeared externally, it's not that I impregnated in the materialistic sense. You are already there, and you are everywhere. You're omnipresent. So this is the way to see Krishna, is that, of course, on Janmastami, we want to be more Krishna conscious. But on every day, just like today is not really Janmastami, astrologically in one sense, but we're celebrating. So what are we doing every day in our devotional practices is that we're praying for Krishna to appear in our consciousness, right? We're wanting to associate intimately with Krishna. So we can celebrate Janmastami every day. And also on a spiritual level, Krishna is appearing every day in a different universe, right? They say that the pastimes of the Lord are Nitya Leela. They're ever going on. So that Krishna appeared on this planet 5,000 years ago. And then the very next moment, he appeared in another universe. And all the same things that were going on in this universe, where all the demigods were showering flowers and all the heavenly entertainers, the Gandharvas and the Apsaras were dancing and singing, and all the demigods were in the festive mood. So the same exact thing happens in another universe when Krishna appears. And then when he appears in that universe, the very next moment, he appears in another universe. So that's one way of seeing Krishna's not just, sometimes we think, okay, Krishna's omnipresent, right? He's present everywhere. And we think, okay, we're just thinking within this universe. And still we think, wow, I'm thinking in a big way. But that's just one universe. Like according to Krishna consciousness, there's unlimited universes. So philosophy aside, we can celebrate Krishna's appearance in our heart at every moment. Why every day? Every moment. Just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that time I am, right? Time I am. So Krishna is time. So each moment is an incarnation of Krishna. This is what I've heard, another way to look at it. So how we reciprocate with each moment, okay, what we decide to do after we get off this Zoom talk is a direct way of how we're deciding to reciprocate with Krishna in the time factor. So this is a very empowering way that Krishna gives himself to the living entity, is even though we have minute free will, still we can choose with all of our volition, with all of our energy, how to reciprocate with Krishna at every moment. So by the grace of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, and all of his disciples, all of his gurus, all of his gurus going that way, by the grace of the Parampara, we are given the opportunity to know these things. Like myself, I grew up in Arizona, just how am I to know that, like, about Mahavishnu, and how am I to know this exalted Jishnu, and all of you that I get a chance to associate with very elevated spiritual people is all by the grace of the Guru Janas. And we have that opportunity at every moment, and that spiritual life means how to organize our life in such a way that we can't not think of Krishna. So like we were saying, how Vasudeva was imprisoned, he couldn't celebrate, so he mentally offered cows in charity. So mentally, I am offering all of you Abhishek to your lotus feet. Mentally, we're offering you many cows and much Krishna conscious inspiration. So thank you for this opportunity, and maybe there's some questions or comments.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for such sweet pastimes of Lord Krishna and how he appeared, and that when Lord Krishna appears, everyone becomes happy. And when we hear about the pastimes of Lord Krishna, about how he appeared, it also makes us happy. So I'd like to ask from the audience if anyone has any questions or comments. Also from our audience here. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I guess I have a question. And yeah, that's fine. That's fine. No, that's fine. So my question is, my question is, what are some examples you can give on how we can serve Krishna with our mind?
Everybody heard the question?
Yes.
Yes.
So if we look at Prabhupada's example, Prabhupada was very practical. How to serve Krishna with our mind is Jishnu's question. So Prabhupada had a very concrete, practical formula for engaging in devotional service, and he taxed his disciples to push on Krishna consciousness, right? So just like he was asked, you know, if you get money, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said it to him at Radhakund, if you ever get money, print books. And then that meant so many things, right? So in the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says in one purport that the best way to control the mind is to be constantly thinking of how to do the best welfare for others. So Prabhupada has given us mainly three ways to do the best welfare for others. The books, book distribution, prasadam distribution, and Harinam, distribution, Sankirtan. So this takes a lot of mental energy also to print the books, to distribute the books, making plans. So making plans how to distribute prasadam, making plans how to organize Harinam Sankirtan parties for the benefit of the world. So mentally, Prabhupada wasn't like pie in the sky, like with the mind. In one sense, that's fine too, because you'll be Krishna conscious, even if you just like daydreaming, right? Because most of us, when after you've done your work or you've done your school, you want to just have a little break, a little space out time. And then sometimes people just sit down, they daydream, fantasize. So you can also just direct that towards Krishna. You could make things up. You could imagine yourself dressing your deities with very opulent clothes. You can imagine cooking them, maybe feasts that you aren't physically prepared to do. But more practical than that is use your mind to practically plan for how to, also for yourself, how to be more Krishna conscious, how to be more pleasing to Krishna, how to be more of service to the devotees, and specifically how to push on the mood of the acharya. So if we use our mental energy, think of different ways. Just like Prabhupada, he once said, like you Western people, you know, you do things big, right? Something like that. So you should also do big for Krishna, right? So it's not like, okay, in material affairs, just like a lot of you are engineers possibly. Maybe not. A lot of Indian people are IT workers. So they've taxed their brain how to make the bucks, how to get the career, right? Many years in school, many years studying. So also tax the brain, do big for Krishna, do big for Prabhupada. Also use your mental prowess, use your mental abilities to plan out practical offerings to Prabhupada. And if we see the mood of Prabhupada, we see that his main offering to his guru is to distribute this Krishna Bhakti. And to distribute it, he had the three-pronged attack, so to speak, was Prashadam distribution, Harinam Sankirtan, and book distribution. And then the temples are also to show how to live by the philosophy, and then a center for all those things to go on. So have, just like Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he went to Prabhupada and he said, Prabhupada said, oh, I want you to stay in India and preach. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, oh, Prabhupada, I'm already preaching. And then Prabhupada said, preaching means results. Preaching means results. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj had just left India, where he was managing the society, and he started distributing books around the United States in buses and getting other people to join. And so he had a whole batch of new devotees, all 10 new devotees. They were waiting outside. And when Prabhupada said preaching means results, and then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, okay. And he opened the door, and one came in with a red rose and offered it to Prabhupada. And they were all brand new bhaktas, you know, just fresh out of Maya. So this kind of activity is very enlivening, you know, to Prabhupada, to have results. And to have results means that you probably spend more energy and more time in the mental preparation. So to plan, sit down with a pad of paper, pen, write it down. How you'd like to serve Krishna in 5 years, 10 years, or even, okay, smaller goals are fine too. How you want to engage in your own sadhana on a week-to-week, day-to-day basis. Is that okay, sir?
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else have any reflections or comments or questions?
So Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for your time, the time of Janmastami and Prabhupada appearance day. I know you are so busy, but mercifully you are giving your blessings to the veterans, this Krishna House Sangha program. So we are so blessed to get your association. I think we'll take advantage the way Prabhu presented, how we can be 24 hours Krishna consciousness. And today, this year is very, very significant, because without Prabhupada appearance day was yesterday. Just I'm mentioning 2-3 points. Like now is 2022, but 100 years ago, 1922, when non-violence took place in India, when Gandhi was fighting against British. That time Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is called the Lion Guru. He was preaching, and that 1922 Prabhupada, our Prabhupada, who established this movement, he met with Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati ordered him to spread the Krishna consciousness all over the world. But Prabhupada that time, he was studying, and he took diploma from Scottish Arts, one of the prestigious colleges, and he gave up his degree to march with Mahatma Gandhi, like called Ekatma with Mahatma Gandhi, to attend the non-violence protest against British. So this year is very, very significant, because Prabhupada, without Prabhupada, we couldn't get this Krishna consciousness. Like Prabhu actually explaining, though he is American body, and we all Indian body also, we know Krishna, but we don't know the scientifically, like how we can apply in our life perfectly. So Prabhupada actually made this movement, and nowadays, if you go all over the globe, you'll see every corner of the globe, people are chanting. Even the Chinese people are chanting, who are atheistic. 20,000 people in China, they are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and they are following 4 regulative principles. So thank you so much. We'll have little Pushpanjali today, since we celebrated on Friday, but some guests are here. Some honorable guests. Here is Dr. Suresh Alhari, Professor of Tulane University, Dr. Bhavu Sarkar, Professor of LSU, and Engineer Koilarji, also Palokji and his wife. They are IT people, also so many, all of them. You told they are engineer, really, Dr. Sudhir Trivediji, all other like engineer, doctor, and Dr. Ravi Dhawanji, all of them actually supporting this program to spread Krishna consciousness in Baton Rouge area. So I am so grateful. Actually, by their cooperation, we could do little contribution in Baton Rouge area. So we are so blessed to get your association today. So Prabhu is mentioning 24 hours we can get Krishna consciousness, because Krishna's appearance there we can make the promise. And Krishna's Janma is Janma Karma Chome Dibbang. Krishna told Janma Karma Chome Dibbang Yogati Tattva Taktam Dhan Punar Janma Noiti Mameti Arjuna. We don't want to get birth again in this material world. Krishna promised, and Prabhupada actually yesterday I read on purport through Prabhupada books. Prabhupada told this life is preparing for the next life. Like we are preparing for the exam, how are we going to get the result? So this body we can use for the next life. It is very, very scientific. Actually, you all are materially high or a scholar, so scientifically we can understand. So to see so many living entities in this world. So we have to get another body. If we prepare for nicely to get Krishna consciousness, then again we will go to the higher abode, or at least we can get the human form of life to we can start again to practice Krishna consciousness, and we can get out from this material world. Because in this world, Krishna is our real friend. We heard people are cheating us. Even your beloved one, your wife, your children, your husband, everybody you can say cheating, because one day they're going to leave you. Cheating is not like, like somebody borrow money and they didn't give you back. This is not real cheating. Actually, real cheating is for whom you gave your life, your blood, your time, day after day, your whole, consciousness, but they're living and they keep you here and they leave this world, and you're going to cry. Like Dr. Sonia actually attend to this program, Dr. Lakshmi Bhatt, so many like our friend, she told, I lost my father. This is actually one kind of like the painful. This is also one kind of cheating. Actually, our beloved one left us. But Krishna will never leave you. He is our eternal master. Prabhu told, omnipresent, omniscient, operator, generator, everything he is. Like this life, he is giving us blessings, giving us mercy, that therefore we can take breath, we can get satisfaction, we can get peace. And after this life also we can get this real peace. So Krishna is our real friend. He will never leave us, though we want to leave him. But by the mercy of Vaishnavas, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, and through his books we can read all the time, and we can keep Krishna consciousness in our heart, and this lifetime and next lifetime, even your beloved one who left this world, like a 7 generation up and 7 generation down. If you practice Krishna consciousness, they will get benefit. So how Krishna merciful is, like the ocean of mercy. So we should not leave this. Like if you are treasurer, if you have the real diamond, you will not leave, right? You open the door and people will steal from you. We don't want that. So Krishna consciousness is like that. So thank you so much. We are actually getting benefits to hear Krishna Katha. Prabhu, please bless us so we can continue this service and we can keep Krishna consciousness. And I'm requesting, please come again because we want to hear from you more. And so thank you so much. And Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Lord Sri Krishna, and we will have some little flower Pushpanjali. So you like to lead Pushpanjali, like you can chant the Mangala Charan, couple of verses, and everybody hold the flower. Who are in the audience, if you are in the homes, you can grab some flowers from your garden, and you can hold the flowers. And we can offer by mind. And who are here present, will give flowers then. They're going to offer direct to our Lord. I'm requesting all the devotees, if you don't have flowers that by mind, you can chant the mantra and you can offer to the Lord and you'll get same benefits. After that, we'll have prasadam. Anybody is close by here, so please just stop by my home. And I'm inviting Prabhu, please one day come with Jishnu. And we'll see you here. So thank you so much. Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Which is there virtual prasadam?
Yeah.
Yeah, offering my mind, prasadam.
So Prabhuji, you like to chant Mangala Charan?
You do.
Everybody got flowers?